Hello, everyone. Michael Jordan fans are the best. And today I'm going to be reacting to Scap Attacks, a message to Kobe haters. Still trying to get my channel back. And I've been on the backlog of actually putting content out. I've been putting stuff out on the weekend. So I just wanted to get an easy reaction video out from my friend here. Let's get into it.
Well, I have spent the last 2 days making varying responses to the cowardly scrubs who have been making their rounds on various platforms trying to disparage and minimize the career, legacy, and accomplishments of the great Kobe Bryant.
And for all you that have watched my channel before, I'm not the biggest Kobe Bryant fan. However, I do think that a lot of hate or skewing of what had happened in the past for how much he was lauded and how much, at least in the fan side of it, people appreciated him playing basketball. I had heard things, to be fair, about when I was a kid that Kobe was the Robin the Shaq. However, if you look at it and you really think about it, and even during that time, really his fame, his appreciation as a basketball player grew. And immediately after that was done, for the people that were saying that, he was just one of the best players in the league for them.
Now, we have come to expect this kind of bummish antics by the usual suspects, like Stephen A. Smith and Gilbert Arenas. But most recently, two former Kobe supporters and allies have now also forsaken him at the behest of the Clutch Sports edicts to tank Kobe's legacy, all for the glorification of the Fraud King's massive ego. Yes,
That is something, and especially with a lot of these modern NBA talking pieces that on ESPN or some of the independent ones like Gilbert Arenas, who's now transcending into modern, or excuse me, mainstream NBA media. The aspect of it is that it does seem that they're really trying to combine the two different eras and say who was greater, and it seems that they're trying to push Kobe back farther away from the now, which is LeBron James being considered one of the greatest players of all time, and at the very least being considered one of the greatest players in the last 20 years. So it is interesting that there has been such a paradigm shift of who's considered the greatest player of all time. And with that, Kobe really, if you think about it and you look into it, he has a case to be a top 5 greatest player of all time. I recently just did a new tangible. This doesn't even include the cultural impact or anything of the sort. And I have Kobe Bryant number 4 all time with the new list.
Tracy McGrady and Dwayne Wade have now moved to the dark side, and I will tag both of those videos on the end screen at the conclusion of this video. But I have just been stewing on Wade's pitiful assertion that Pau Gasol was the rightful MVP of the 2010 NBA Finals. I felt like more had to be added to my original video on this topic yesterday, an addendum, if you will. And if you missed,
yeah, I didn't see the last video with Pau Gasol being Finals MVP. I'd have to look back on it to see if there's any case for it. I, however, would think that if there is a case, that it's not a strong case, that maybe he could have been it. But I don't know. I'd have to look at the stats. I'm not sure off the top of my head.
that this is exactly what Wade had to say on the topic.
Last finals that they won, Kobe didn't play well. Kobe didn't shoot the ball well. Actually, everybody thought Pau Gasol should have been MVP. That's how well Pau was playing, and Kobe was playing off.
That is not how I remember it. I watched all of those finals in bars for the ones that Kobe Bryant went to, with the 2 Boston Celtics ones and then the Orlando Magic one. And I don't remember that being the case where everyone was saying Pau Gasol should have been Finals MVP. That's not how I remember it, or that's not who I was talking to, what they said or thought.
And as covered in my previous video, Kobe outscored Gasol and every other player on both teams of that series by 10 full points per game in the series.
Yeah, I don't know if he means points per game or just points. I think he means points per game. But yeah, if that's the case, then I would find it hard for somebody to put somebody else on Finals MVP. Usually, if it's not in respect to scoring, often the highest scorer is going to win. And if there's that much disparity of who's next up in respect to scoring, and Kobe Bryant had his reputation of being in the three-peat in the early 2000s, and he also just did a plethora of things that may have not shown up in the box score. He had the hustle, and he still got good rebounding and assist stats for a guard. So we'll see.
It got me to thinking, though, how many others can make that claim? So I went back to 1960 and looked through every single NBA Finals series played from that year until this most recent year to find the answer. And there have been exactly 10 such series where an individual player outscored every other player in the entire series by a minimum of 10 points. That would be 10 times out of 65 years, and of the 10 times it's been done, only 7 players have successfully won that series.
Yeah, that's interesting. So I would think that with that being said, I may have missed it, but that everyone that did win became the Finals MVP, and I might be stealing this thunder here. And he's got Michael Jordan up. I imagine that probably happened around 6 times for him. I guess just to guess off the top of my head, maybe it was Rick Barry, maybe Larry Bird, Wilt Chamberlain, maybe Willis Reed. Yeah, I'd have to, maybe we'll see who they are.
Wouldn't you know it, all 7 of those individuals went on ultimately to be named Finals MVP. Additionally, there have been 2 and only 2 players who have accomplished the feat more than once. And do I even have to say it? Of course, it's the 2 greatest players ever, Michael Jordan, who did it 3 times, and Kobe Bryant, who did it twice. But it's not like that was the only thing Kobe was doing in that 2010 series, since he also led every player on both teams in assists and steals, and that was while finishing 2nd per game in rebounds during the series. And
yeah, how can you make the case then, even just alone on statistics, outside of impact, outside of just the intangibles that people award the Finals MVP for? It seems that there really isn't a strong case for him to not have been Finals MVP with what's being said now with the stats. So I find that interesting, and I think this is the Scap's point, that all of a sudden this narrative is coming out that Pau Gasol should have won Finals MVP, when that's something I never heard of as a kid. I've never heard that once. I had heard the Kobe's a Robin, but even during that time, he kind of ascended to become one of the greatest players in the league. So even with that said, the Kobe hate per se, in respect to what Scap is alluding to, I have never heard anyone stoop to what you could call low of saying that Pau Gasol should have been Finals MVP. It's kind of like the guy saying Scottie Pippen should have been Finals MVP. It's kind of in the same boat.
Of the 10 total instances that has occurred since 1964, would you believe Kobe Bryant is the only player who has also led the entire series of players on both teams in assists? He did that twice, in 2009 and 2010. Finally, he also posted the best defensive rating of any player on either team that played a minimum of 13 minutes per game. He did all of that while winning a series against a team that had 3 top 75 players on it, while his own team had not one other top 75 guy besides himself. Not
Yeah, Ray Allen definitely should not be a top 75 guy unless you're just taking into account his shooting prowess. I think he made All NBA only a handful of times. He was an all-star a lot of the time. And then he won the 2 championships in total for his career. But besides that, those 3 players, it was a fantastic team that they had. They also had Rajon Rondo on that team, who was an assist machine. They had Kendrick Perkins on that team, not to really blow him up, Big Baby Davis. Those guys were pretty good for what they were. It was a fantastic team. And I do, however, think I do go against the aspect of that Lakers team was garbage. I thought Pau Gasol was a good player. I thought that Ron Artest was a fantastic player, meta world peace that he was calling himself, defensive player of the year candidate. But to Scap's point, they were not the big 3 Celtics on paper at all.
Only should we not be talking about someone else deserving the finals MVP, we should instead be talking about this as one of the greatest finals performances of all time. Instead, as has become the standard operating procedure, Kobe slandering mandates have been put out by inferior players feeling a little self-conscious about their own inadequacies, and parroted by others who are feeling a little inadequate about their favorite players. Your favorite.
It does seem that it's intentional, and I don't know what it is, especially for the guys that were peers with Kobe Bryant, the Tracy McGradys, the Dwayne Wades. Dwayne Wade came a little bit after T-Mac, but to go and look at Kobe Bryant and then just essentially just suplex city his case because it seems like somebody's feeding them money or feeding them ideas to go and communicate that they think LeBron James is greater, even if they're not saying it directly. Because this Pau Gasol thing being finals MVP, that is a stretch. And this is aside from that. It seems that that's commonplace now, is that people try to lift LeBron James up. And he's done fantastic things over his career, especially with the longevity and the totals and being, top 10 in a majority of those total stats for the length of time that he played. To be consistent over that time is fantastic. However, I just don't think that total stats really transcend across all time as much as impact during individual seasons and what it's led to. And that's, again, not to say that LeBron James hasn't done that. I just believe, within my assessment, that Kobe Bryant was just greater.
Favorite player wasn't as good as Kobe Bryant. Get over it. And now, unless you might have been living under a rock for the last roughly week or so, the sports world
I have been
has been ablaze since LeBron James hit the old podcast to whine and cry about how weird and unfair ring culture is.
A ring is a team accomplishment. I don't know where it started. It's just it's a long conversation, especially when it comes to
Now, I usually.
This is what I don't understand. Now, I did hear about that. It's the whole point of the game in this team game is to win the NBA championship. So how does it not matter? The ring culture, it should be included on how you determine who's the greatest player of all time or who's greater than somebody else. If you have an equal amount of capability against somebody who doesn't have a ring, but you have a ring, the guy with the ring is going to be the one who should be on top. And even when you compound these things together, if somebody won, what's more impressive? If somebody won an All-NBA and all defense, first teams for both of them, and a championship, and let's say a finals MVP versus a guy who won an MVP, all NBA, all defense. What's more impressive, to be the MVP and not win a championship, or to win a championship but still have the same kind of standing? And it's not to say that they're both not impressive, but the point is that it's part of the game. It's the point of why you're there. It's not the Harlem Globetrotters where it's just pure entertainment, where you win every time except for once. And not to say that that's not fun, but that's not the NBA.
Don't do this, but I wanted to tease that video here, as I have heard the outcry from you for an official response to that absurdity. And it is coming. It's coming tomorrow. So make sure you hit that notification button now so you don't miss that, and stay up to date with more from me. Until next time, guys.
So if you haven't subscribed to Scap Attack and you're seeing this for the first time on my channel, please do. He's my buddy. And I'm sure this next video on the ring culture is going to be fantastic. And I'm going to be putting out more reaction videos. For one, it's an easy way to communicate with what's going on, and they're real fast to make. So it's fantastic. I'll be doing more of those as I'm fighting to get my channel back, which hopefully happens. I'm trying my best, putting resources into it. So for the people that are watching now that are still supporting me, it hopefully should be down the pipeline soon. But what do you think about this whole Pau Gasol should have been the finals MVP? I think it's nonsense. Let me know what you think about this in the comment section. And for everyone, Michael Jordan fans are the best.